Hey family, how you doing? This is Toussaint Smith of Alliance Associates Realtors. We're here today with two of my favorite people. I have the Hurdles here. Hey Hurdles, how you guys doing? Good. I'm here with Carlucci and I'm here with Isaiah. Two of my favorite people. And we're just going to be talking about real estate. One of the things that I love about this couple is they're doing things that a lot of people talk about. Originally, they bought one unit from Alliance Associates, and it was a 2-flat unit. They lived in one of the units. Then they went and bought a second home in which they moved into that second home. So not only were they two homeowners, but now they are investors in their 2-unit, and they have 2 tenants living in there, so they're bringing in income. So I brought them in here today. I want them to talk about their process, how happy they were with their process, and what's next. So get ready, sit back, relax, and let's have some fun. So let's talk. Let's talk. You guys originally, when we started this process, this home buying process, it wasn't a real easy process initially. We saw a lot of yuck homes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did. We went to, I will never forget this because it still breaks my record. We went to one home that we saw was that multi-unit, and it had almost 90 items that was wrong with the house. But this man, Isaiah, was like, well, what can they do? I like this house. Can they do something to this house to fix it? And it was just a tremendous but how did you guys feel about that beginning process of buying a home for the first time?
I felt nerve-wracking, because it's our first time. We don't know what to expect. So that was kind of like, I don't know what to even look for. Right. We knew what we wanted, but like you said, how you mentioned, there's miscellaneous things that you don't know until you actually go see the property. Yes. So you don't know these things when you're initially, starting off.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, and I feel like, in the beginning, we were just completely green with everything. There's one thing when you come in there with a game plan and you have things in mind and, you have must-haves, but when you actually get into those homes, you want to just buy all of them. And the one that you bringing up in particular, I'll never forget that house, for the rest of my life, because I fell in love with that house. It was everything about that unit, I believe it was the lot that really got me. It was a huge lot that it had, a huge backyard, and that was two of the most important things at that time. And we felt really good about it. We sat down and we had conversations about it, and everything was good all until we did that inspection.
Yeah,
that inspection report was everything. So I'll tell everybody, I mandate everybody to have inspections when they're doing at home, because it's a home that you're going to live in. For some people, it's going to be for the rest of their lives. Some people, it is that first time, home that they might stay there a couple of years. But inspections are so extremely important. And this one in particular, again, over 90 items that, was just, it was a terrible, when you saw the inspection report, I was like, Isaiah, we got to get out. We got to leave this one alone. Isaiah was like, no, let's reevaluate it. Maybe he's willing to fix some of the. I said, Isaiah, we need to leave this one alone.
Yeah.
And I think the stairs, the back porch.
It was the stairs.
Yeah, the back porch was the big thing that we finally.
And the roof.
Yep. Yeah. Those two, and those was big money. Those are two big money items.
When we went to see the home initially, it was raining, so we didn't know about the roof.
Oh yeah, and it's good that you brought that up too, because I wanted to point out huge credit to you during that process, because I would have never even thought about the inspection. That was when we saw that place and we saw how it was laid out, and I saw that lot in that backyard, that was good enough for me. So I think when it comes to other realtors and how they do business, you kind of miss the education piece. And for us being, that was our first time out. We didn't really have a lot of knowledge about it as far as the process goes.
Right.
And I'll never forget, we was having that conversation, and you said, you know what, I think it's good that you guys like this property, but you may want to look into doing an inspection on the property just to make sure that all of the bones are good, because things look good on the surface, but then once you get into these places, and I've seen a lot of them, I'm speaking from your perspective, I've seen a lot of places, and there's a lot of horror stories that come with it. So, it may be a couple $100, but that'll be, the best money spent.
Yeah. And when you think about it, this is and was for you at that time one of the biggest purchase that you guys probably had made in your life.
Oh, definitely.
And that happens with most first-time home buyers, is that you buy that first home, and all of a sudden you don't want to get stuck with what they call the lemon. You get stuck with the lemon.
You want the lemonade.
Yeah, exactly. So you said something, Carlucci, that you said that when you first started, it was nerve-wracking.
Yes.
And so where did you both find comfort through this process? Where was there comfort along the way? Or was it just nerve-wracking all the way to the end?
Oh, no. I think once, you started going over the process, I felt a lot more comfortable. Once you did go into details of what we should be looking for, I just felt a lot more comfortable because you listened to us.
Okay.
You knew what we wanted and what we were looking for. So I think it just made us feel more at ease.
That's good.
I would say.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That touched my heart. That's good. I appreciate that. Because I really, there's so often with new buyers, you really want to take your time with new buyers. It's so funny. We did a video a couple of weeks ago, and that video was about you got to hurry up. You got to do this. You got to do it now. You got to do it now. And people, I don't want to buy a house like that.
Yeah.
So I always think about what I desire, and try to make sure that, as you said, I hear what you say. Hear your desires, hear your wants. And sometimes, I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes with buyers, you can't get everything you want.
Right.
But we always say that if you fall into that 70, that 80 percentile of all the things you want, more than likely, we're going to find some peace along the way in getting you the house that you were looking for.
Yeah, for sure.
Was there anything as you went through this process, because you had to deal with a lender, you had to deal with the lawyers through that first time that you bought this house. Was there anything that really put fear in your hearts along that process besides just buying a house? Was it a nerve-wracking working with the lender? How was that process?
Working with the lender, would you like to leave with that?
It's gonna have to cut out.
That's all right.
But I would say working with the lender, I think because you introduced us to the lender and you had background on the lender, just getting more of an understanding of what these obligations that we will have. Like I said, it just made the process more smoother, more easier for us. Gave us a better understanding of what it is we're getting into, because not everybody understands okay, this is a huge thing. This is a major milestone in your life. So it just made it a lot easier just getting to understand not just the purchase of the home, but also the actual paperwork, the contracts, and just understanding your monthly payments. Just
that's
the breakdown.
really important.
So because you want to be able to afford, what you're purchasing. I think that was very important.
And also understanding the language too. I think you did a good job, because I feel like there is a such thing as real estate language. There are certain things that if you hear for the first time, you don't really understand what it means. And I think you did a very good job of breaking it down to us and showing it to us, talking us through it and actually showing it to us and making sure that it made sense to us. So that built up a lot of confidence with how we moved forward. So, as we went through the journey, because it was a long journey. We looked at a ton, we looked at a lot of houses. And as we went, we kind of like figured out, okay, this is how we need to be shopping. This is our price range. These are the tax amounts that we need to be looking at based on the overall price of the house. Things like that. It's like those small details made all of the difference within that process.
I tell you, that journey. So you had a journey, and we as a company had a journey too to get to that point where we had made a decision, a conscious decision, to become an educating organization instead of just your normal everyday real estate organization just trying to turn over. It's not just about the income; it's about the end result of what you guys see. And that was one of the things that we fought real hard, and it slows down the process a little bit, but who cares? Because in the end, when you really think about it, you guys not only bought one house from us, but you returned to buy a second home, which that right there is proof in the pudding that you take your time through the first process. Because what if I would have rushed the process? You guys got the home that you love. You would probably felt a little more comfortable working with Joe down the street or somebody else because of the fact that, how he was on the first one. We don't want this on the second one.
Yeah.
So it's our goal to always try to take our time. Now, so here we are. So you got in this first. This is a two unit you bought. You're living on one of the floors and you're renting out the second. So now you are bringing in basically income into a property that's helping you with your mortgage payment. Mm-hmm. How was that for you?
Okay, so this was kind of like the game plan that we set up when we were in our apartment. So we kind of like sat down and talked through what the vision looked like for the next 7 to 10 years.
So you had a vision.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this was definitely
something
that we kind of had chalked out for us.
Okay.
We didn't have a lot of the knowledge that came along the way once we started working with you, but at that time we did have that idea in mind, and I don't even know where to begin with that. When we first got into the place, we went through the whole what would you call it? Like we were not scouting people, but we went through
the whole renting process.
Yeah, the whole
kind of right fit because we're living there. We got our family there. We want to be comfortable.
And you want the right person there, because you can always have contact with these people that's going to be your now new tenants in your building.
Yeah. Yeah. So we wanted to make sure, and she brought up a great point. We have our kids there and everything, so I would definitely recommend. Let's just take that off the table. If you live in the place, you want to make sure that you do the background check. You want to do the credit check. I'll say the background check again because you got to know who you're living with.
Right.
And you just want to make sure that your home is a safe place because this is our primary home at the time. Again, that was another thing that you helped us out with as far as like what that process is going to look like. And you gave us the paperwork for it to give us a good start on, giving us the direction on where we would go. Yeah.
Well, the one thing that I like about you guys is that you wasn't shy about picking up the phone. And, so right from the beginning, I get that phone call from Isaiah. Isaiah was like, hey, I got a question for you. Mm-hmm. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And so you guys had talked about, and I love the fact that you did have a game plan. Here's one question that I want to ask you guys, and you can help me. First of all, you talk about in the multi-unit, you lived on one floor, somebody else lived on another floor. How was that from a relationship? You had to hear them either downstairs. You were upstairs or downstairs?
Yeah, we were upstairs.
So, but you still had to hear a tenant moving around and all of that. And you mentioned it earlier that you had to go through a vetting process to know you got the right one. How did it feel to have somebody in your building? How did that work for you?
I think in the beginning there was a learning curve for the both of us, for both parties. And what I mean by that is, the tenants that were downstairs at the time, they were a little bit older than us. And we had it set up where it was like a no smoking policy. And I'm not trying to micromanage anybody or tell anybody how to live their life, but that was one of the stipulations that we had. It was a no smoking apartment. And I feel like in the beginning, we had to be a little bit firm as far as setting guidelines and things like that. So there were times where, I would have to kind of like repeat myself and go down there and just say, we had this conversation. And I try my best to be fair with people. Right. I don't come down, trying to impose will or nothing like that, because you're not going to build a relationship in doing that. But at the same time, when you have things in place, you do have to be firm. So I think just, setting the right expectations and staying consistent, that earned the respect, and there was a clear communication between.
I 100% agree. One of the biggest things in that process a lot of times is, and you said the magic word, is about when somebody's in your building, you want the relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get around not having a good, solid relationship, because to be honest with you, they cover your back, you cover their back, through it all. So here's one that we always laugh about, is that the money situation. You got to collect rent from these folks.
Yeah.
And so how was that process? Did you have to knock on the door every month to get your rent, or was it just a natural flow for you with your tenants?
It was for the most part, it was a natural flow, I would say. We were very fortunate to get some, I would say, really, really good tenants, right from the beginning.
Okay.
There were times where there was a little bit of, I wouldn't say that they were, late at times, but I feel like, okay, if the rent is due on the 1st and I have to come to you on the 5th, just for you to tell me you won't have the rent, on the 8th or the 9th, that's kind of alarming, because I feel like, as far as communication goes, if we're right upstairs, you have my number, I have your number. It's just a matter of saying, hey, the payroll is set up this way. It may be a couple of days late, and that's fine, because I'm not going to say, okay, well, if it's not here on the 3rd, then I'm going to charge you extra.
Okay.
But we do have a little bit of a window that we do before we do start to charge. So, the first time I may be a little bit lenient. The second time I have to kind of be enforceful, because I don't want this to become a habit.
Okay. So communication through this process is extremely important.
Oh, yes, definitely.
So it's not only the relationship, but you want the communication.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, those are the things. Is there anything else as a let's just call it as a home, not just a homeowner, but as in essence, a landlord? Is there anything else that you can talk about that would be helpful to future landlords?
Make sure that you have money put aside for the unforeseen things. Things are going to come up, things that you can't really have control over, because you're not in the home with these people. You don't know what they have going on. It could be a toddler downstairs. Throw a toy in the toilet or something like that. Now you got a plumbing problem.
Very good.
Or a light switch goes bad. Things like that. The unforeseen. If you can set some funds aside just for those type of situations, you'll be setting yourself up for success. Another thing is, since you are the landlord, you're responsible at any given time. If there's a flood on, in the basement, or if there's a leak in the ceiling, it could be 4 a.m. Guess who got to get up to take care of that? That's your job to do. So, if
not to cut you off, but at the end of the day, it's your property. You want to take care of your property, take care of, the tenants, because, I mean, you should be well aware of like their safety too, as well as ours, because
Amen.
yeah, I mean, it's important to just make sure you have those reserves. Just like my husband said, like just anything can happen.
Anything
and you want to
can happen.
just be prepared for it.
And we've
at all
been
times.
tenants before, so we've had landlords that are Johnny on the spot. We've had landlords that drag their feet.
Okay.
We don't want to, be those people that are in that same position and be the ones that drag their feet, because it's like, oh, okay, now you causing extra stress. And I feel like people don't want to stay in your homes if they don't feel confident in you.
Right.
You know.
So not only do you expect responsibilities from the tenant, but you place responsibilities on yourself as landlord to provide, which I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome, because so often people miss that. Now, to weigh it out, let's put it on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
Landlord versus not being a landlord. Do you think, do you have any regrets? I guess that's the best way for me to say it. Any regrets about being a landlord in this process?
I don't have any regrets. There was a lot of learning along the way.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
A lot of learning along the way. As I mentioned, the unforeseen things. Sometimes you may not be particularly prepared for the unforeseen. But as far as like, if I could change things, would I be a landlord or not? I would say I would be a landlord again, only because overall, yes, there's been some ups and downs, but for the most part, we've had a
lot of ups.
Lot of I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. A lot of ups. We want a lot of ups.
Yeah.
You always want a lot of ups. So good. I love the fact that you guys came to the table with a game plan. You don't know how many clients I get, and they don't even have a clue on what their past finances look like, or what their credit looks like.
Yeah.
You guys at least had did enough homework to know exactly that, okay, we know we're credit worthy, but where do we go from here to be able to process the things that we want to do? Mm-hmm. And even after you bought the two unit, you had a game plan for when you were ready to buy the next unit. And I love that. I have enough money saved. We're ready for the next step. Mm-hmm. And so, and one of the things I heard you say is the word is vetting, that you had to vet the tenants for sure. You had to go through that process until you found that comfort zone. And now here you are for your second home and ready to go with that home. What did you make sure? How did you go about making sure you were ready to buy your second home? What was your plan in that concept for the second home? Because you got a 2-unit, you know that the income from those 2 units. I want to say this for the audience who don't know, that when you own a 2-unit apartment building and you're getting ready to buy the home that you want to live in, that 2-unit apartment building, honestly, that's residual income that's coming in that will not only take care of the 2-unit, but it's also going to help you take care of the unit that you're going to be living in. And that's what these geniuses did. They set up a plan good enough to set them up where there's enough income coming to help them with the home that they live in. So I want to just say that. That's my quick commercial. So I'm coming back to you again. Was there a game plan that you had? Was there a financial situation that you waited until you got to a certain point? How did you do that process?
Yeah, so, we, again, before we make any decisions, we sit down with each other, we have a conversation, and we try to make sure that it makes sense to each other before we move forward. And one of those things that we talked about in the beginning, before we had even got to that point, was, we know that life changes are going to happen.
Yes, sir.
And by the grace of God, we would hope that it's going to be propelling us opposed to moving us backwards. So we just kind of forecasted like by this time we would have, pay increases, things like that. And if we vetted the right people, We would have, people that we could trust in the building. We kind of know what the process is. So for the next time around, we go to for the unit that we would be leaving, we would know the process. So it'll be a lot cleaner, a lot sharper. We know exactly what we're looking for.
Okay.
And, at that point, we'll be able to step out and move forward, because now not only are those life changes in place, but now we also have additional income that we can add on to once we go and apply. So we just made sure that everything was in line, and of course we called you back because our experience from the first time around was really good. So we wanted to make sure that we connected with you for the next go around.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. So the second purchase was a little bit easier on you.
Oh yeah. We knew what we were looking for.
Okay.
We did, get the education that like you provided us from the previous purchase, and then not just that, like we trust you. We trusted you with our purchase, and that's the first thing that we thought of. Like, oh, we got to call Toussaint.
Thank you guys.
And then just like building the rapport of like how we went about purchasing our second home. So like we just knew you would take care of us.
Yeah, because so before we found you, we had dealt with a couple of different realtors, so we were able to see the difference. And I think that was the game changer there, because we sat down with these people, and we had conversations with them, let them know, what our wish list looked like, let them know, what areas we wanted to live in, and they went the exact opposite direction, almost like as if we were talking to somebody different. And I say that respectfully. But, the process is just night and day. Yeah. So, I felt like in order for us to do it and for it to make sense and for us to be successful in it, we would have to come back.
Well, I appreciate that, because, I can never speak about how other realtors handle their business, but I always look at, we always say this from an Alliance perspective, that once you become a client or a customer of ours, you fall into the family arena, and we try to take care of our family accordingly. And I'm going to be honest with you, we don't take that lightly, because one of the things you said is by the grace that we are doing everything that we do. Every sale that we make, every purchase that we help somebody with, it is by grace that we are continuing to move forth as a successful company to work with folks like yourself. So I appreciate that. And each time I find that we learn something. When I first got in this business, it was just Toussaint Smith by himself. And every time, before we start getting agents along the way, we have 6 agents that's working with myself and my sister now. But every time that they experience something, guess what? I experienced something, or my sister experienced something. So my favorite line used to be, "I've never heard that before." I've never heard that before. It's just constant and constant and constant. As you travel through this, and you're now comfortable with, and I'm assuming you're comfortable with the process that we and listening to your words, and I appreciate it. When you look back, is there anything that you would have done differently along the way?
If I was to look back and think of anything I would have done differently, if it was in our cards to deal with you from the very beginning, that would have been great.
You get points for that. You get points for that line right there. I appreciate it.
But that's, to be honest, that's
it's
the truth.
Because it's the time.
Time wasted.
It takes some time. And that's, the rates could change within that time. So,
if you had to tell, based on your experience, and again, I love having you guys as guests here, with us on this piece, because of the fact you have the experience as a first time home buyer, you have the experience as an experienced buyer, and now you have the experience as an investor. So you fit all bills, you cover it all. So if you had to tell a person that's buying for the first time, especially in the market, people get nervous about buying. If you had to tell somebody, what would you tell a person that's buying for the first time? What is some of the things that you would, just from your knowledge and your wisdom that you have and your experience that you have, what would you tell them?
Don't purchase debt. Don't go out and buy any cars or, anything that can hurt your debt to income. Keep an eye on your credit.
So I'm going to cut you. So you're saying while you're going through your loan process, don't go buy a whole bunch of stuff? Or are you saying just don't buy it now if you're planning on buying a house?
Yeah, beforehand.
Okay, beforehand.
Yeah,
okay.
Just okay. Before you even get started there, don't make any purchases that are large purchases, because that can hurt your debt to income, which can ultimately, kind of destroy your bottom line as to what kind of home you could be in. Be patient. You're going to see a lot of houses out there. Don't jump to the first thing. Take your time. Deal with a realtor that is knowledgeable, also patient, and listens to you. You want to add? Because I could go on.
I would say, like what you had mentioned, like just don't jump into any house that you see, because like there's going to be a lot of houses that you're like, oh, okay, this is a beautiful house, but like comes back, the inspections have a whole list of things that need to be fixed.
Right.
So I think, and just like learning your financials, just understanding like, can you afford this?
Wow.
Can you afford this much? Just understanding, kind of like learn as you go, so that in that way you just have like more knowledge for like what you're looking for, what you could look for in the future, or just.
Well, you guys, it was a beautiful thing because you guys had a plan. Yeah. And so, to add on to what you just said is that I think one of the things in a nutshell is make sure that you have a financial plan when you get started. Make sure you know everything there is to know or get close to, at least, or talk to somebody who has a little experience that can lead you down the right path. So that's really important. That is extremely important. Well, I just want you to know that, again, I appreciate you guys taking the time out today with, just sharing with me that the knowledge that you have achieved. We've been trying to do this a long time, just everybody's schedule is the way it is, but I'm glad that we have taken the time out to do this. So I appreciate you guys so much. I really do.
We appreciate you having us.
Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. We're going to sit back and we're going to get ready to go eat, which is very important. So they can cut that or leave it in there, but it's all right.
Well, can I add something?
Please do.
So we've been talking about like what we're going to do for like retirements.
Okay.
So I know it's along the line because we're young still. But we definitely said we would like to get a retirement home.
Okay.
So we're looking forward to working with you again.
Well, are you guys going to stay in the same community, or are you planning on going to other areas?
I want something by the lake.
By the lake?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wherever she wants to go, that's where we'll land.
Save your money. By the lake. Now, when you say by the lake, by a lake?
By a lake. Yeah.
Okay, by a lake.
Yeah. I don't have like any specific lake, but I would just like, I did mention Michigan.
Yeah.
I did
say, that's what I thought when you said by the lake. Mm-hmm. Save your money by Michigan, Lake Michigan. Yeah, those are costly in that particular area. Now, of course, you look around the suburbs. Mm-hmm. Yes, you can find that without a problem. Mm-hmm. Just where you want to be, but we'll definitely work through that process. Yep. So
when the time comes.
When the time comes, come on. Bless you guys. Thank you again so much. And I appreciate you. I appreciate it. We're going to conclude today. We appreciate you. Call us. You can reach me, Toussaint Smith. You know where I am. I'm always here for you. My telephone number is 630-973-8892. You can email me. You can email me at TOU828@gmail.com. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Take care of yourself.